Hello, we're live, and thank you for being here today. We have a big announcement. It'll be my pleasure now to invite some of our speakers next. As you might have seen from the title, today's we're going to have Interop Technologies, Sinch, Syniverse, with software, Mavenir, Summit Technologies, and Synchronoss, together announcing a new approach, if you want, or a continuation of the existing approach also, to provide a truly interconnected service for the RCS standard. So together, I think it'll be great to have our speakers. I know there's been some changes, and not all of them will be here. We also have a maximum amount of people we can bring forward to you, but I think it's a welcome to Robert Gerstmann, Guillaume Mavenir, Zitnik, Glen Murray, Lokdeep Singh. I've been Ciaran McGovern, and I'm seeing who else have I missed? Chris Wright from Syniverse, I believe. And I think, well, I got you guys. I'm surprised I didn't manage to. Oh, so Glen Murray, in case I didn't say you, I see some people saying hello. Hi to everybody. Well, thanks all of you for being here. We are very, very grateful you've chosen MEF as a host for the activity, for your discussions, and we're very happy about that. So we will, for all of the MEF members, you already heard about these announcements. We will continue supporting all the things that are going to happen from these. We have a name for these activities, and you will hear this name. I'm not saying it now. I'll let you announce it properly, but we will let the activities flourish within MEF. And first and foremost, well, I'll say well done to you. This is what we like when the industry comes together and talks together. It's a great moment, I think. It's showing the power of ecosystems reaching out. At this point, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to go on the background because these guys are going to do everything by themselves. Is that true? No, but you go quiet.
That's the idea.
Yes, you are. Okay. Well, I don't know. Am I handing over to somebody specifically? Who is our first speakers? And do you have a presentation? I understand.
Steve, you're on mute.
I believe that we're missing Guillaume, maybe, from the list, which I assume would be one holding a presentation as well. Oh, actually, I can see, well, the magic of technology. There is a message saying, yes, we have lost Guillaume, which is joining us early on from the US, but he's reconnecting right now.
Okay.
So actually, we will only be a few minutes away from the announcement. And as a matter of fact, like magic.
There he is.
Good morning, Guillaume.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
I just realized you were missing, and that's me counting badly. Well, anyway, so we got the 6 of you, I believe. I will now move aside and let you do the rest of the show.
Great. Well, thanks, Dario. We really appreciate it, and appreciate the opportunity to speak here at the Connects event. And what I think is for all of us, certainly in this group, a very, very important topic, and one we've been talking about and advocating for a number of months, really. Gentlemen, on the group, if somebody has the slide deck, we can just put it up whenever we get a chance, but we'll continue on. So basically, where this group originated from is, as we're all very aware, late summer, early fall of this year, some of the industry players, or one of the industry players within the RCS ecosystem, made some fairly drastic and dramatic changes to their positioning as far as open RCS and the RCS ecosystem is concerned. That led to a number of us, as you can see here, just based on the group that's in front of you, mostly the vendor community within the RCS space, began chatting and began talking basically about what was happening in the ecosystem, what it meant, what we were hearing from our operator partners, and what we should or could do about it. And that evolved itself into discussions beginning with Dario and the MEF to begin to talk about formalizing the group in order to do essentially three different things. First is education, to make sure that the entire community, the full ecosystem of the mobile community, understands what's happening, understands what the rules of the road are, understands what is possible, and what is potentially not possible. To make sure that we're all working off the same sheet of music and that everyone understands. We began that back in December, did a very well attended webinar explaining the positions of Google. We were able actually to have Phil Carter from Google actually come in and explain their position a little bit more fully. So I think that we've already started that aspect of it. The other kind of leg of the stool, if you will, is advocacy. I think the group here and many of you I've heard from over the recent months, we're all essentially advocating for the same thing. And what is that, right? Well, it's basically what we all started out when we started putting RCS together, the Universal Profiles 1, Universal Profiles 2, and moving through the standardization process. I think what we all envisioned then was RCS, which is embodied by three things, essentially. One, that this is an operator service. RCS was always envisioned, at least always talked about as an operator service, as an evolution of messaging for the operator. We still believe that to be the case, and we believe that that should be based and is based on a set of open, standardized interfaces that are fully interoperable with each other. We believe that's critically important. Pretty much the whole community has been advocating that for a long time. And what that ends up giving you is very much like what we have right now with SMS, which is a network that is essentially used by everyone, but owned by no one. It's a collaboration of all of the industry participants, of all of the mobile network operators, and of all of the vendor community as well, of course. So that's what we're advocating for RCS. The other thing that I think we need to address is interoperability, certainly. There's been a lot of fear and uncertainty and doubt promulgated in the community surrounding RCS, surrounding the difficulties in integrating RCS. There we are, thank you. Difficulties in integrating RCS and the difficulties in interoperability. We are proposing, and the guys will get into the meat of this a little bit in subsequent slides, but we are proposing creating an environment where we can prove interoperability, both between OEMs, between the various vendors represented here, and between the community, to show and to demonstrate complete interoperability, vendor to vendor, multi-vendor environments, OEMs, all of that, to kind of assuage some of the fear that is out there in the marketplace of interoperability that's been put out there by some other participants in the market. So with that, I think I'm going to hand the presentation over to Glen Murray from WIT Software. And Glen, one of the things that we had put together early on was, I hesitate to call them the 10 commandments, but they're more so the 10 guiding principles of what we're actually advocating for and what we feel needs to be done. So with that, Glen, please jump in.
I think it's actually Guillaume who's doing this session, Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry. Guillaume, my mistake.
It's okay. Thank you, Steve. Let's go quickly, through the 10 points, which are really the foundation to work together as an ecosystem. And, it goes with, some of the technical aspect of RCS. One of them is, to support fully, universal profile and being able to be backward compatible to the 1.0, the P2P universal profile. So that happened both in the system, the client, and then everything that support in between, universal profile. The other point, which is very, very important, is everything related to the activation of RCS, which is registration and provisioning processes, following, the GSMA, RCC 14 and 15 for people who really want to know the details. But it's really, about, making sure we have the seamless registration and provisioning process. Of course, with regards to the map gateway, being able to support fully northbound and southbound gateway, they are, critical in the integration and interoperability between operators. And so being able to support both of them, is fundamental. Support also the capability for providing P2P level of integration. This has been, one of the major challenge that we see that needs to be resolved. And it's also one of the major elements to be successful in RCS is to provide, a seamless P2P experience between all the ecosystem. Support the chatbot directory, which is a very critical mechanism to discover the brands, to discover, the chatbot, to discover, the offering that the brands are putting together. And so supporting that directory function at the client level, at the backend level is very important. Being able to interop in terms of testing for accreditation in any kind of mode. So all the combination of vendor to vendor needs to be agreed upon. And then being able also to agree on the development of standard, for feature roadmap. So very important to be able to propose a set of standard-based feature to be implemented. Regarding the last 2 points, it's important, to make sure we have a technical working group and a governance board as part of this cooperation. This is not a replacement of a specification group. This is not a GSMA, specification group, but this is really, a technical working group, making sure the spec are taken into account and when we make them work together. And then we want to promote the alliance. We want to recruit more, especially at the operator level, solution providers, handset OEMs, and every participant, in terms of aggregators, channel developers, that can support the development of the ecosystem. So these are the fundamental 10 points, that we wanted to cover and introduce to the community.
Okay, so it's over to me, Glen Wright from Wit Software. So what does this mean in reality? To give you some idea of what we're trying to achieve in some, rather than based on standards or what the benefits are to the various players. So the first thing, the primary focus is to help create operator-owned RCS services, help operators evolve their messaging services today towards RCS and continues to own those themselves. So we all as a group agreed to get on together to talk, cooperate, test and certify, make sure all the platforms, the solution components and ecosystem partners all work together, and there's a place to come to check that compatibility and interoperability. If you're an operator, you can come join the group and you'll be able to ask the group to test and verify different solutions working together. So for handset OEMs, some benefits is that there will be opened up to choice of pre-tested, already tested applications that they can pre-install on their devices as the default messaging application, which is something that's lacking in the market today. And one of the costs for handset OEMs is bringing a new client to market today. It's expensive, but this group allows them to pre-test against all of the vendor solutions that are rolled out globally today. Hopefully, if everyone signs up, then all those handset vendors can have the choice to come and test before they take it to an operator. Also, for handset OEMs who do have their own RCS and default messaging application, they'll be able to verify this, ready for launch against all of the back-end vendors who are in the group to make sure, again, time to market for the operators is optimized. And operators will have a direct say in the requirements. So both vendor to vendor in the RCS ecosystem, but also operator to operator. Interoperability between operators is hugely important to drive the market. And today we've seen that in Japan and China and the US, that having all operators on the same page connecting to each other. So as part of the group, we will also help facilitate operator to operator interconnectivity. As Guillaume mentioned, we're fully committed to the GSMA standards and RCS standards. This group has come from adherence to those standards, and we all believe fundamentally they've created a great standard, really useful for users, really useful for enterprises to talk to those users, and really useful for operators to own those services and take advantage of those services for their communities. And also, we're going to work to provide some reference architectures to speed up the flow of the delivery of the solutions, help provide, if you're going to use this solution in this environment, this is the best way to configure it to get to market quickly. So real practical advice. And also under this group, the plan is to really enhance the value of RCS, enhance the reach of RCS, and enhance the value to the end users as well. Be able to improve this service for end users who be able to take advantage of RCS capabilities. And we're committed to basically creating innovation as well, create new ideas, bring those ideas through the standards bodies, make sure they're all available to the end user marketplace. And that's it, I'll hand over.
Thank you.
Chris.
So what we want to do is talk a little bit more about membership. What we did is both Glen and Guillaume talked a lot about the benefits of the overall organization and how it's going to be driving new connectivity, new capabilities, and the ability to test the different services. What we're trying to do now is add membership to the overall organization. Some of the key focus areas are going to be operators, technology partners, aggregators, and handset OEMs. We really need to gain more membership in here, especially around the operators and the handset OEM providers that are out there. I think with this broader category of people within the organization, it's going to help strengthen the overall organization and provide more benefit and insight to everybody that's trying to promote this industry. I think it's Glen.
Over to
Yeah, so this is Lokdeep saying from Synchronoss. Nice to see you all. Glen already covered part of this, but these are the proposed work items for this group, Open RCS Forum. 2 points I would make at a high level. First is, this is by no means a static list. As Chris said, that we want to increase the membership. We want to have your input to see how we prioritize this and what gets added to this list, as an example. I would also say that all of these work items that are being proposed are aimed at one and only thing, which is how to promote an open and competitive marketplace, as well as address some of the pain points that we've heard over the last 2 days. So some examples of that. We want to define what does the standard interfaces look like for a hosted platform, because that can, expedite the speed to market, which is a pain point that we've heard from all the operators that we speak to. We also want to standardize and support interconnectivity challenges that may exist between operator-to-operator platforms, as we've seen in many countries, as well as the interconnectivity, interoperability challenges that may be between an operator RCS system and a non-operator, let's call it a closed platform ecosystem. We also want to simplify, and I think this was again discussed yesterday. It is rather complex right now for the brands to launch a campaign using RCS when it compares to as compared to SMS. So we would like to simplify that by having a common enterprise brand registration process and a campaign process. Also, items around how do we evolve beyond UP 2.5, and how do we provide a path from moving from one platform to the other for multivariate reasons. So like I said, not a static list. We want your input. Please come join us and help us drive this ecosystem. I will hand it over to Robert.
All right. Thank you, Lokdeep. Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Gerstmann. I'm from Sinch, and I'm also the vice chair of the MEF, so I'm on the board. And I just want to highlight the role of the Mobile Ecosystem Forum in this initiative. So the charter members have asked the MEF to support with administration and management of this group. And the MEF will really provide a platform and support the activity of the Open RCS Forum by maintaining a list of all the supporting members, setting up meeting, providing antitrust review, managing the agendas, and then also publishing the results, white papers, communicate the activity of the group, what's happening here, and then also support with new member onboarding, which Chris talked about earlier. And then again, just to highlight, so it's really facilitating all of this to happen. And then to end off, just highlighting again, the MEF is not a standards body. We will not create standards under the MEF name. The Open RCS Forum will be advocating the existing and evolving GSMA RCS standards. So there's no conflict between the work that the MEF and this group is doing with the GSMA, rather the opposite. And with that, I think, Dario, I'll hand over to you to finish off.
Well, perfect. Yeah, I'm back, and thank you, Steve, Glen, Lockheed, Chris, Guillaume, Robert. You managed the activities to present together and the complex topics, but I think that if the message went through, we had one question. I will reply to that relatively quickly from Konstantin asking, have you done interconnection yourself? Is this the announcement? I'll probably jump in, and he's just saying, correct me if I'm wrong, the ORF, the Open RCS Forum, will now start discussions in making sure that all of that is easier done. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So here it is, the announcement, and everybody can join, as we've heard. Very glad that MEF is helping out. We've overtime a bit, so I don't have too much time to thank again. But I guess we're going to hear more about the ORF, the Open RCS Forum, and from all of you. So thanks again, and we'll probably continue a chat later on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.